because I'm actually making this up as we go along.
Yeah,
I've
that's
just,
what I like.
yeah,
I
I
like
had a
that.
look in my fridge at 7:30 and went, okay, what soup am I going to make? So it really is an unplanned, just
That that's what I
three,
use. That's what
yeah,
I usually make.
yeah. And look, and this is the way a lot of people cook. Before they had Thermomix, you would just, throw stuff on the stove and cook.
Mm,
And this just shows that there's no reason why you still can't do that. Because
mm,
I love being able to just look in the fridge and go, oh, yeah, I could probably do something. Those, veggies need eating up or whatever. And I had a
yes.
chicken breast, so I'm going to put some chicken in it.
Oh,
Um, yeah, so
goody.
we will actually be making it up as we go along. We can decide how we want to cook this.
Yeah,
So,
that's good.
yeah, so I
That's
think,
my kind of cooking.
yeah, that's, yeah, I think you need to be able to do that. But yeah, I am going to start with the Brazilian cheese puffs just because they are awesome. And it's a nice sort of wintry thing to do. So, has anyone made the Brazilian cheese puffs? No one?
No.
Nope. Okay. Well, I bet you will after tonight because, well, I mean, you'll see them. You won't get to taste them, but I will be able to tell you how amazing they are because they are delicious.
I've got the ingredients to make them tonight, but I
Oh, well,
couldn't be bothered.
oh, okay. Well, look, you can watch how I do it and then do it
Can
tomorrow
you
or
use
something.
other cheese other than the Gruyere
Oh,
cheese?
yeah. Look,
Oh,
one thing I was going to show you is I'm not going to buy Gruyere cheese.
I bought it. It's so expensive. I thought, oh
Yeah,
no, I don't know what else I could choose.
yeah, no, and it's really funny because this is actually one of the demo dishes that we do. And uh, when I send the shopping list, I actually always put the alternatives because I am not going to pay the money that they want for Gruyere when I actually am going to be using Woolies brand Tasty. So there you go. And that is my favorite flavor in the cheese puffs. I do put a bit extra cheese, but that's just because I like it. Well, actually, no, I tell a lie. It's actually mainly Woolies Tasty with just a little bit I've got a tiny bit of, yeah, maybe 20 grams of Parmesan as well. Because again, I just looked in my cheese tub and went, oh, what have I got there? Chopped off a chunk of Tasty. It wasn't quite as much as I wanted, so I just added in a bit of Parmesan. So there we go. So, awesome. What we will do is I'm going to get rid of my Veroma. We don't need it. Tiki will be happy about that. She doesn't like using the Veroma. So we don't need Verona tonight. We will keep our spatter guard. I am going to be using that a bit later on. Simmering basket, I don't know if I'll use that. I'll leave it hanging around just in case. As I said, I am making it up as I go along when I do the soup recipe. But I'm going to get the cheese puffs mixed and then, I should have a second jug here somewhere. And then I'm going to jump into my other jug, get the soup on happening. And while the soup is cooking, I want to talk about cleaning. You're pulling your jug apart and some of the cleaning methods that you can use, good things to use for it. Because I do get a lot of people inquiring about it, how to do this, what's the best way of getting in under the blades or getting things off the bottom. So we'll run through some of those options. But before we do anything, let's find some Brazilian cheese puffs. And I'm just going to change screens so that you can actually see the recipe. For those of you who haven't been on here before, because tonight is what we call sort of the new owners session, I make sure you can actually see what I'm doing on the screen because you don't want to just see me waving my hands around and looking wonderful. You actually want to see what's going on the Thermomix. So I actually have a camera that will show the actual screen. Okie doke. And you probably can people still see me as well in a little
Yeah,
window at all? Yep. No, Tiki
yeah,
can't. I can
I
see
can.
Tiki shaking her head, but
No, I can't do that.
no. Okay. I think it depends how you've got it arranged. Because you can have different. Oh, actually, yeah. One of the options can have a small active speaker video, but it doesn't matter. Look, you don't need to see me. I will be talking. You'll be able to hear what I'm doing. But the main thing is that you can see what I'm doing on the screen. So I've got a feeling I'm going to go to my planner. I don't think I put Brazilian cheese puffs in my menu. Let's have a look. Oh, I did. I tell a lie. These are some of the things I was thinking about cooking tonight, which is why it's full of things. But Brazilian cheese puffs, here they are. Beautiful. These are a lovely little gluten-free option. And I've got some light reflecting on the screen here. Hang on. I think that's better. There we go. That's good. Okay. Um, yeah, so they're gluten-free. Now, we'll have a look at the ingredients here. As I said, Gruyere cheese. Ignore it when it says Gruyere. You don't have to use Gruyere. Tasty works beautifully. A mix of Parmesan and mozzarella is really good because you want cheese that's going to melt and have a bit of a stretch. So mozzarella is good for that. Parmesan has great flavour, but being quite a dry cheese, it doesn't give you that same consistency. So a mix of mozzarella and Parmesan, or Parmesan in a bit tasty, is quite nice. Swiss works quite well, but for me, the flavour isn't as good as some of these other ones. Okay. Full cream milk. I use whatever I've got in my fridge. It could be skim milk, it could be reduced fat, whatever. It doesn't have to be full cream milk. Vegetable oil. That can be whatever oil you have. I'm using olive oil for mine. Okay, so you could have sunflower oil, canola oil, rice bran oil, whatever will work. An egg. Okay, an egg's an egg, just an average egg. Okay, arrowroot flour. Now, this is interesting because it's actually very hard to get arrowroot in our supermarkets and things. And if you go into the baking section, you will see this thing here. I don't know if you can see this. I'll see if I can get that into focus on the camera for you. No, you can't actually. It's so good at focusing on the actual machine. It won't let me do that. But anyway, this is a Mackenzie's, and it says arrowroot, but you can't read it. But it actually says tapioca flour underneath the arrowroot. So it's not actually arrowroot. Okay, so it is tapioca. So buying it, hang on, I'll just stop for a second and show you. Buying it like this, okay, in the baking section. I think you're paying about $2.40 for one of these. It's 175 grams, which it's about the right amount that you need, but it's a very expensive way to buy it. I buy it from the Asian section in the supermarket. You'll find a bag. The one I get has like blue on the outside, blue Chinese writing and stuff, and it actually says tapioca starch. And it's like a 500 gram bag for the same price as that one. Okay, so I just have this because I refill into this so that it's ready for when I want to cook. I must admit, I actually go to my favourite place, Hindustan, which I've spoken about before, Dandenong South, and buy 5 kilo bags of tapioca flour as well. So I always have it in bulk now. So don't worry about the fact that it says arrowroot. You do not need arrowroot for it. See, some of these recipes, they sound a lot more complicated ingredients-wise than they need to be, okay? So Yeah, so the arrowroot flour is actually tapioca. Um, you can get arrowroot from health food shops and stuff, but traditionally in Brazil, they would have used tapioca. So we're fine. And the salt, you actually do need the salt in it. It actually works as a flavour enhancer to bring the flavour of the cheese out as well. Okay, so here we go. It's very simple to make. Let's start cooking. Preheat oven. You will know what your oven is like. If your oven runs hot, put it on about 200 because you don't want to burn them. And it says to grease a 24-hole mini muffin tray. I have never greased my, I'm just going to go grab mine. I'm going to use the rose gold one tonight. Oh, this is the one from, is this the Thermomix one? This one here, super heavy. I have never greased in my life, and you will see if your cheese puffs are cooked properly, you can go ping and they will just all drop out. Okay, so don't worry about the greasing 24-hole muffin tray. It is not necessary unless you have a mini muffin tray that you have greased in the past, in which case you would need to keep greasing it. But if you've never greased it, it will be fine as it is. I have a cheap one that I got from Woolies or Big W or somewhere, and again, I have never greased it and it has never stuck. So it's not just, you know, the Thermomix one that's like that. It's any of them. Okay, cheese in. So you can see I like mine a bit cheesier. It says 70 grams. I go for about 100. It's not going to hurt it. In fact, it will make it taste extra yum. All right, so I've just popped the lid on, which is why the number has jumped up. And I popped my little lid in the top. And we're going to have 10 seconds on speed 9. Now, when you're grating cheese, you need to actually listen to the sound because different cheeses grate, take different amounts of time. It depends how dry it is, how moist, how big your chunks are, all sorts of things. And if you were to, sometimes if you were to go the full amount of time, you end up with cheese paste, and we don't want cheese paste. So you have a listen, and you'll get to know how grated it is. Okay, so I'm, oh, sorry, hang on, let me just stop. I just turned the dial.
That's
yes.
That's what I was going to ask you. If it was too long and you wanted to stop it, how do you stop it? Do you push the thing in or turn it off?
Just hit the silver dial and it will stop. So
Okay.
I will show you because I will probably stop before the 10 seconds is up. So you'll see my hand do that, okay? So let's go with... Okay, I am going to have a look at this point. So I have just, by doing that, I have just paused it. So you can see how it says turn speed selector to restart. So just think of it at the moment as I have just paused. I'm going to have a look. Okay. So that was 6 seconds. I'm going to show you what that looks like. Okay, so it's tasty cheese for 6 seconds. I had that in, they were probably 1-inch blocks that I had in there. All right. And if you can let me get to my camera, can you see there? It is free flowing, finely grated. If I went the extra 4 seconds, it would start turning into a paste. Okay, so that's what that is. So you could hear it I could hear it chopping, and then all of a sudden the tone changed, and I thought, oh, I'm going to have a look. It may not have been ready, but having that look meant I could, stop when and look. Marie has said, what else can you use it for? What are we going to, oh, that's probably the tapioca flour, is it? Is that what we were talking, is that what you're mentioning? we'll have a, I'll talk about that later then if you like. We'll get these happening. All right, so I now know I don't need to do any more, so it's my 6 seconds is all good. And milk. So just to be civilized, I've put it in a little jug so that it's easy to pour. Look, this recipe is pretty forgiving if you go like, over, on your milk or whatever, because we're basically making a batter. So, come here, you silly thing. I don't know why that went up and then down. Oh, we'll see. I probably had something leaning against it. Ah, near enough. There we go. That will work. As I said, it is very forgiving. And 60 grams of oil. And my olive oil go in. Now, if you're really worried about, when you're putting ingredients in and that you're going to go over or under or whatever when you first start, there's nothing to stop you with having the lid on, putting a little bowl or jug on top of the lid, putting it into that first, and then tipping into your main jug. Okay, because I know it can be a little bit scary, a bit worrying when you go, oh, how I get it out again if I put too much in. But do that. Egg. I had my egg already cracked, so I've just popped a whole egg in. All right, now here's the arrowroot flour. Now, or the tapioca flour. One reason why I pop it in this smaller container is because it is so light and powdery. It likes to go everywhere when you go to put in. So if you've got a big bag of it and you go to pour it in, you will end up with a cloud of tapioca dust all around your kitchen. Okay, so I do it into a smaller container, just keep it in my pantry like this, because it just is a little bit tidier. Let's have a look. What are we going? I mean, I've already got dust building up here. Nearly there. Look at that. Yeah, and I've got probably a tablespoon left in the bottom of my container. Oh, now I put the lid on. It didn't tell me to put the lid on, so always trust what it will tell you when to do these things. Okay, so my teaspoon of salt is going in, and I'm actually adding a little bit of pepper. There is nothing to stop you adding whatever you like in these to add flavour. I mean, I've put some all sorts of interesting things in. Can anyone think of any flavour combination they could imagine going in with cheese? Garlic is absolutely perfect. If I actually had a spare garlic clove, I would have thrown one in at the same time as my cheese. That is actually a very normal thing that I do, so that's really cool. Even your fine bacon works really well, if you like your bacon. And yes, herbs, Katrina, absolutely. I mean, I've put mixed herbs in, but there's also things like, I mean, imagine like your Moroccan spice mix or something like that would be good. Chives, yes. I have chives in my crisper at the moment. I should have put chives in. So there we go. I didn't even think. So yeah, so there's so you can do anything you like to. This is the plain cheese version. You can tart them up however you like. All right, lid on. 20 seconds on speed 8. Round we go. Now, it says to scrape down the sides. I'm just going to stop and show you what that means. Ugh. Look, we're nice and... It is a batter, all right? So you can see that's all there. It's saying to scrape down because if there's any cheese chunks or anything up there, we want them to go down. Okay, beautiful. Scrape down sides. Lid back on. I won't go back down to the main screen. I'll tell you what it's saying because it's just saying to do another 5 seconds. Okay, so I'll just... All right, now it actually says to fill each muffin mold 3/4 full with batter. I'm actually not going to do that at the moment because I want to get my soup on. So I'm just going to, I'll just show you what that says there. There we go, simple as that, fill each muffin mold. But I want to actually go onto my soup. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to get my batter, pop it in my squirty bottle. Now, if you have a thing like, there's those cupcake pens and things that you can get, you can use that. I have this one, which I got from a catering place. I actually bought a few in. I actually came down from Queensland. They actually came from Queensland. But here's my squirty bottle. It's like a sauce bottle, but it's perfect for filling the muffin tray. So I'll show you that once we've got the soup on cooking, we can get the cheese puffs in. So this size bottle is perfect for a batch of puffs. Whoops, I just spilled over the side. Let me just scrape a bit more out. There we go. Done. So I'm going to pop my lid on here. Now, this particular batter, if you don't want to cook 24 of them, you just want to do half a dozen, you can just cook half a dozen and pop your batter in the fridge. I've had it in there for up to 5 days or so. So you can just do them, as you need them. They are best fresh. I wouldn't do a whole batch and freeze them or anything. I know some people do, but I think they're sort of so quick and easy to do. I'd rather just have some batter handy and just cook a few as I need them. So what I'm going to do now is grab my second jug. You don't need a second jug necessarily. I'm just doing this to save time. And we're going to jump on to back to our screen. Okay, so we're going to get out of this recipe. We'll come back to it later. We can get out of it now because what I want to do now is invent my soup. Now, what I like to do when I start a soup is saute off some onions and things. So I actually have it saved in a special collection as well, but I put it in here for today. This little thing here, see the Mirepoix? That is a classic combination of vegetables that's used as the base for, all sorts of soups, casseroles, all sorts of stuff. It's a really good. I think it's using the high heat function, so it's going to actually saute those off really nicely, and then we'll move on from there. But I'll just show you something interesting. Okay, the ingredients are olive oil, onion, celery, and carrot. I have no celery, so it's not going to have any celery. I don't know how much brown onion I've got, but what I've done is I need 400 grams of vegetable. that's what I'm working on. Okay, so I'll show you. Okay, we're about to exit out of our Brazilian cheese puffs and go on to a new recipe. Okay, so I'm just going to show you my veggies. Now I do need my olive oil. I don't need my, I'll just clear some of these things away. We'll play with our squirty in a minute. Get that out of the way. Now I have here some veggies for my soup. I had a look in my crisper and went, what have I got? So I have some onion, some carrot, whoops, zucchini. I even found a little bit of celeriac. I didn't have any celery, but I had a little tiny bit of celeriac. So when you're doing these high heat recipes with vegetables, it will tell you what size it wants you to chop them at. Okay, so you don't do them too small. They have different sizes because it likes to saute them at the same level. So things like, carrot is going to be sort of that size. Okay, and now I've got another bowl of veggies here. This is a leek, some more carrots, some more zucchini, which I actually just sort of halved the size of those. So they're going to go into the rest of my soup. Okay, I could, if I was doing a soup that I know at the end I'm going to be pureeing or whatever, I would actually have just thrown all my veggies in at the start, not my sauté ones, my other veggies in at the start, just chop them small, taken them out, put them aside, because they're going to get pureed up. But at the moment, I don't know if I want to have a chunky vegetable soup or a pureed soup. So that's why I've actually done these by hand. I mean, it didn't take long to chop through a leek and a zucchini. So that's what that is. So I'm sort of leaving my options open because it depends. I never know from the start of the recipe till the end if I'm going to feel like having creamy soup, creamy chicken soup, or chicken and vegetable with noodle soup, or I don't know. Let's have a look. All right, so we're going to be doing our high heat, which is awesome. So we're going to pop our olive oil in. Or whatever oil you choose. Not everyone uses olive oil. It's just, it's one of what they class one of those healthy oils. So it does give a nice flavour to things like this. Now it says 200 grams of brown onion cut into wedges, 3 to 4 centimetres. I'll just show you the sort of size. If you can see, that's, it's not fine chop and not like half an onion. It's 3 to 4 centimetres, so a bit over an inch. But I'm not going to put it, no, because I've got it all mixed in together. But we want 200. Then we want 100 grams of celery cut into pieces. I have no celery, but I'm going to put 100 grams of something in. 100 grams of carrot cut into pieces, again 2 to 3 centimetres, so 1.5 inch chunks. So that's 400 grams of stuff that it wants. Huh, pretty close. Happy with that. All right, it's now asking for, put my lid on, my splash guard. Now, it asks you to put your splash guard on. It is an honesty thing, okay? It doesn't know if I've put it on or not. If I leave it off and say, yes, I've put it on, it will still cook, okay? But it is telling you for safety reasons, put it on. So I'm happy to put it on to make sure I don't get burnt. All right. Okay, so it's now going to cook off these vegetables. So we've got our little high heat symbols. And it's going to go for 12 minutes. So while it's doing that, we can be doing some other things. There we go. Off it goes. All right. Okay, so because it's going to be doing like these for 12 minutes, and then when I'll put everything else in, probably cook for maybe another 12, 15 will be enough to cook everything through. Okay, all right, now, I suppose we'll get our Brazilian cheese puffs happening. Sorry, I'm just out of sight. I'm actually just giving my cheese puffs jug a bit of a clean so that I don't drip batter everywhere when I pull the jug apart and do all that for you. Here's where a second machine would be so awesome because I could pop it on pre-clean. Okay, and just clean that and that. All right, now what I'm going to do is, now, can you hear my machine going? Hear the sizzling? Yeah, so it's cooking off those vegetables. It's going to be adding some awesome flavour into our soup. Okay. Right. So, so you've seen my choice of veggies here, based on what I had in my crisper. What other veggies do people like to cook with? Or would you put in a soup? Anything? Feel free to unmute yourselves if you want to say anything. It doesn't just have to just be me doing this.
Pumpkin.
Sorry? Pumpkin?
Parsnip.
Parsnip. I actually nearly got some parsnip today because I thought, ooh, that would give a nice flavour. And yeah.
I made pumpkin soup today,
Oh yeah?
but I wanted to do it in the Thermomix,
Yeah.
but I liked my recipe, so I actually did it on the stove, and then I just chopped it all up in the Thermomix.
Okay.
See, I just fry my onion, saute my onion with the brown sugar and butter.
Yep.
And I didn't know how I could do that in the Thermomix.
Okay. Well, look, now you've seen what I have done here. Has that given you any ideas as to what you could try?
Well, I wonder whether the sugar and the butter would be okay like that with the pumpkin and onion. Would it be too
it will caramelise.
Yeah, well, that's what it was. That's what it does. Yeah, caramelises the onion to make it that bit sweeter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll try it in that then, doing it like that. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I was actually going to.
Sorry?
I was actually going to try and send you the recipe to say, hey, Louise, how can I do this in the Thermomix? But I couldn't find the recipe.
Oh.
I just did it out of my head.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, because one of the things, like when you do stovetop cooking, you don't really know what temperature you're cooking at. So that's always a bit interesting. Because you might want to, instead of, say, using the high heat, oh, no, that should probably be okay. Even if you found a high heat recipe that doesn't go for too long. I mean, how long do you cook your onions in the brown sugar and butter?
Well, I just sort of saute them a bit until the pumpkin gets a bit softer on the outside. And then I put the stock in and cook it.
Yeah. So how long do you think that takes?
Probably 5-6 minutes. I actually left it on today because I forgot it. But it probably takes about 5 minutes.
Yeah. Because you could always try, and instead of using, say, the high heat, just because that's not as variable for us, is to try it on the 120 temperature. And, say do, 5 minutes and have a look at it and see what it's doing, and then maybe add a bit of extra. Because what you could probably do is have a look at, there are recipes for caramelized onions for the Thermomix.
So what speed would you do it, and would you do it reversed?
Yep, I would do reverse speed 1.
Okay. Yep, I'll try it this time.
Yeah, or even the reverse and the spoon speed. So that actually, because it's going slower, it actually is keeping the food sort of in contact with the heat for longer rather than going whiz, whiz, whiz all the time. So that, yeah, I would try it, definitely. Because, look, I cook my onions in here. I do high heat the sauteed onions, and then I throw in some brown sugar and usually a bit of balsamic vinegar with it, and I usually then just give them a couple of minutes on the 120, and that just sort of adds that sort of syrupy sweetness to them. So I do it sort of a little bit opposite, but that's because, you know, if I'm doing, say, you know, onions for putting on burgers or something, that's what I will do with them. So I will throw, you know, brown sugar and that in there. So you can hear these going berserk. So it's getting all this wonderful flavour coming out. Now, I've got my oven heated. I have my beautiful rose gold mini muffin tray. I have my squirty here, which I love. As I said, look, you can use, you know, cupcake pan, even, you know, a squirty sauce bottle, just because I find it so hard to neatly fill these if you're just pouring out of a jug or using a spoon or something, whereas this makes it super easy. Now, and another thing, I like to sit my mix just a few minutes before I pop it in here, because it actually thickens up a bit. The tapioca flour is a great thickener, and it thickens it up a bit, just makes it a little bit easier to work with. Okay, anyone who's local who wants one of the, I've got a couple of these spare. I sold them to like everyone in the team, the consultants, for $10 each. So I found a couple the other day in my tub of miscellaneous assorted things that I have. So, great. There we go. We got these when we first introduced the Brazilian cheese puffs as a demo dish, and everyone was making big messes at demos trying to do these. So I thought there must be a better way, and there was. So there we go. So I've squirted all that out. That took a whole thing. See how that's all nice and neat now? Oh, that one needs a little bit more. I wonder if I've got a little bit there. There's a little bit. There we go. Awesome. Okay. Well, I'm going to pop these into my oven. And they take sort of between 12 and 15 minutes, depending on how hot your oven is. So I'm going to set my timer for 12 and then have a look. Okay. And this is going, now, I was going to say also, at any time, if you want to, if you go, oh, look, I think this is cooked enough, I don't want to do it anymore, there's nothing to stop you. I'll just show you this. Stopping. It's just like stopping any other recipe. So if I go, oh, look, I've got 3 minutes left on this. And I mean, look, I want to cook it up into a soup. It's not as though I'm, you know, doing cordon bleu cooking here. There we go. I've stopped it. I didn't have to finish it for the whole bit, because this is really just sauteing to add some nice flavour. Oh, that smells good, and it is actually still sizzling, which is even yummier. And I should have a spatula hanging around somewhere, sorry, which has got Brazilian cheese puffs on it. There we go. Sorry, I'm just giving that a little bit of a stir. Yeah, because I don't think, you know, we don't need to really brown it or anything for a soup. We just wanted to release those flavours. Okay, so it's saying, if desired, and this is what I am going to do. Remember that we had quite chunky ones there? We're going to chop our veggies for 3 seconds on speed 5. Now notice how the time didn't start counting down until it had actually reached speed. And because it was hot, it was doing a slow start. All right, so we're back now to freewheeling. I'll just show you what my veggies look like. These first batch of, okay, so this is, all right, so this is just a whole heap of cooked veggies. There's steam coming up here. Already smells yum. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to throw the rest of my veggies in. So, that was, I've probably half a jug of veggies. Okay, and I want, what else am I going to put in? Some of my veggie stock paste. Who's been making their veggie stock paste or using it? This is amazing, amazing stuff. So I'm probably going to pop a litre or so of water in. So does everyone know the dilution rate for their stock paste? How much do you add to make liquid stock?
Tablespoon to 500 grams.
Beautiful. You've got it under control, Athene. Yay. That is exactly it. So I just did 2 nice generous tablespoons, and I'm going to pop. So to show you, I'm cooking manually, so let's just bring it up. There was nothing to see then, but okay, we're going to pop our scales on. And I'm going to pop well, I'm saying a litre, but I'm going to again have a look and see if that looks sort of the right amount, because I just sort of guess at these things. Probably about 750, I reckon. That's wonder what it'll look like if I do the full litre. I mean, I'm not up to my max or anything yet. Here we go. Look, I've done the litre, and I'm just below that 2 litre marker on your jug. Okay, so again, it depends on your vegetables, what it's going to be like. Now, I also have some chicken to go in. Oops, it's in the fridge. You could add cooked chicken once it's done, but I just have a chicken breast. I have no idea what this is going to do. I didn't want to chop it too small because it is going to break down in the cooking. So I've just, diced it up like that. So I'm just throwing that in. We'll see what happens. And better mix through. Lovely. I'm just going to pop my lid on. All right. How long do you think I should cook it for? What do you reckon? 15, 20, 15?
15.
15? We'll give it 15, have a look. Yep. See, this is how. Okay, we're going to go for 15. We'll just do 100 for boiling temperature. You can see what I'm doing on my screen. We go, and I'm going to go reverse so that I don't mush everything up too much, and yeah, probably just speed 1, and I'll just let it cook away. And you can see it's already sitting at 75 degrees. Okay, it's dropping a little bit there, but it will go up again. So we'll just let that do its thing. If you had, I was almost thinking of doing it. If you had really sort of fine chopped chicken. There's nothing to stop you putting anything that you don't want to get chopped up or overcooked or whatever in the basket. If I was definitely going to be doing like a creamy vegetable soup and then put my chicken in afterwards, I would have put my chicken in this chopped up chicken in here, pop that in, so all the liquid would still be going through and cooking my chicken, but I would then be able to lift this out, puree my soup, and be able to chip my lumps back in at the end. Okay, so there's nothing to stop that. All right, let's do that now. Cleaning. Has anyone not mastered the art of taking the base or getting the blades out of their jug? No? Yes? No? Everyone's under control with that? That's good. Okay. Now, and everyone knows it's all dishwasher safe. Okay? So, feel free to put it in the dishwasher. What I do is pop my blades into my base like that and pop that in my top shelf of my dishwasher, jug in the bottom like that. All right, and remember to make use of your pre-clean function, just because it means, if you cook something and then you pop it in the dishwasher, but you don't run your dishwasher until later on that night, you don't want to have too much gunge drying on your blade and stuff. At least you've got rid of a lot of that stuff. Okay, now no matter whether you're doing it by hand or by dishwasher, remember to just run a tea towel over the pins before you plug it back into your machine, and remember also to put it back together fully before. I mean, look, you cannot actually plug the jug in without having it put together, but I do know of one spill where someone thought they just rested the jug on top and didn't have their blade in and poured it. But that's that. All right. Best brush on the planet. These, in normal times, I normally give these as a present with with the machine when we do deliveries. So not all of you have one of these, but I will make sure get them. I have got a collection, so I have been buying them, to make sure I've got enough for everybody. So we'll get them there, but postage costs more than the actual brush. So, yeah. But they're from the Thermix shop. I swap mine over every few months. I actually put these through the dishwasher as well to keep it looking a little bit clean. When it starts looking really gungy, chuck it and get a new one. You're looking about $5, one of those, so it's not a drama. Now, I was going to say another brush that's really cool. It's a blade brush. Again, this is available on the Mix shop, but before they had these are actually relatively recent. I just used to use old mascara brushes. Okay, so you've got an old mascara in the back of your bathroom cupboard. Get the brush out, give it a good wash, run it through the dishwasher, and use the mascara brush works well. But these are really good for getting in and under the blades. Okay, so they're really cool. But I mean, as I said, they're in the Mix shop. They don't cost a lot. They get 2, I think, in the set of those. Don't cost much. There's also another one. It's a big handled blade cleaner green thing. Has anyone got one of those? Has anyone bought one? One of the big blade cleaners? I've actually got one on order because I thought I want to know what it does. But I don't know what they're actually like. So, I mean, they're a lot more expensive than this little devil here. Okay. Now, has anyone cooked something and then in the bottom they've gone, oh no, I've got a burnt mark in the bottom, what do I do? Which,
Yes, me.
yes?
I did, yes.
And what did you do to get rid of it?
I pulled it all apart and I actually used that brush that you've got and it
Yeah.
managed to get it clean.
Oh, well, you did really well then. I've had somewhere it hasn't. And that's when, you know, if you're doing a recipe with high heat, and it will always say to you, you know, at various stages, you know, use your spatula to stir and lift things off. Whoops. I've got the Brazilian cheese puffs going berserk here. Sorry, while I just deal with these. But yeah, if you don't do the scraping when it tells you to, that's when you're more likely to end up with a burn at the end. Because what you're wanting to do is actually caramelize, get all the caramelization off. Okay, here we go. Now, here's my Brazilian cheese puffs. And, oops, just going to shut the oven so I don't hit myself. And I'll just grab a trivet to pop it on. Okay, here we go. Ow. I have, look at these little things. How cute are these? And grab tongs, they are hot. But I didn't grease my tray or anything, and they just lift out like that. I mean, they are so cute, so nice, these little things. They're almost like a choux pastry, but sort of cheesy inside. So when it cools down a little bit and I can actually tear one open with my fingers, I will. But they are so moorish. They're great for having with things like soup, or I used to like doing them with the meatballs with tomato sauce that we would have. So, I'll pop those back out of the way. Let them just cool a little bit. But you want to eat them when they're warm. So you don't want it to cool all the way down. So there we go. Okay, so I was going to show you. Don't know if you've seen the mix shop. These are the Euro Scrubbies. Okay, I love these. They're amazing little scratchy things made out of, no idea. No, because it's, no idea. But anyway, these are actually really good for cleaning jug. And whenever I pop in a mix shop order, whatever, I usually just add one of those onto my order, just so I've always got a nice new one ready to go. But they are great for scouring in the base. But my all-time favorite is this stuff, Tartaric Acid. Okay, you can only get it at IGA or Foodworks. Woolies and Coles don't sell it anymore, but it's actually used in winemaking, so I should actually buy some in bulk for the winemaker. But it's really good. What you just do is just pop some water in the bottom of your jug, tip it out so it's just all damp, sprinkle it in, let it sit for 5 minutes, and then I use either my Euro Scrubby or just my kitchen cloth and do that, and it brings it up beautiful and shiny. It's really, really good. I've been using this as my main cleaning thing for 6 years. This is only the second container of it that I've needed in 6 years, and I've only just opened this one. So you don't use a lot. So if you come across it at IGA or Foodworks, grab it. Okay, so that's Mackenzie's Tartaric Acid. Excellent stainless steel cleaner. So there you go. Now, so everyone been using their pre-clean mode?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
I'm at,
always.
yeah, I always now after cooking, I put pre-clean on while I'm dishing up or whatever, and it really does make a difference to how easy it is to clean your jug at the end. So there we go. Now, there are lots of ways of cleaning that you probably read about, like eggshells and lemons and things. Now, has anyone used any of those methods? I was going to say, Sue, and glad you've been around for a while. I know that those methods have been used for a while. So, has anyone used? I have never done a lemon or eggshell clean, so I'm really curious to know if it is actually effective. So,
I've used lemon in my kettle, but not.
because apparently what you do is you get a lemon, cut it in half, pop it in your jug, chop it up. And then, some people say, oh, no, that's fine. And then other people say, oh, yeah, and then pop in, some water and boil it. So you're sort of boiling it with lemon juice. So it's, yeah. I mean, interesting try. I just never seem to think of it when I've got a spare lemon. My other favourite. So
what about parsley? Because doesn't parsley take away the smell of garlic?
it does. Okay, so
Maybe boil a bit of parsley.
yeah. Yeah, see, I've never had smells that have lingered or anything like that. Now, I will tell you, if, say you'd use curry powder, your turmeric, and your lid gets a bit stained, or even doing tomatoey things, and you sometimes get a bit stained on the lid, pop it out in the sun. UV will actually get rid of that colour. It's also actually good for getting rid of smells if you do have smell. But look, I've never experienced residual smell, but I will tell you, I did a market once. We sometimes do promotional markets, and I was doing one with another consultant, and she brought her machine for the display, and I took the lid off. I could tell what she had had for dinner the previous night, and it was like, oh, and she's like, oh, well, I did wash it. Did you put it through the dishwasher as well? Whatever. But no, because and what she'd done was she'd sort of cleaned it, given it a clean, and then put the lid and everything back on. And so it had just actually kept it, all the smells and things in there. So, get into the habit, if you have done something pungent and you clean, leave your lid off a bit. So, air and things can get through and you'll be fine. But also, best friend when it comes to cleaning, white vinegar. Okay, this is just, this is Coles white vinegar. This is just the super cheap vinegar that's at the bottom shelf in the vinegar section. Okay, I don't use this for cooking at all. This is just for cleaning stuff. If I want to cook, I have nice white wine vinegar and things like that for cooking. But because I have no idea what they make out of this particular vinegar out, but it works for cleaning. Okay, so a really effective cleaning thing, if you've got a burnt patch or something in the bottom you want to get off, is put in, I put, God, I'd probably put half a cup, or I say, a really good slosh of white vinegar, top up with water to cover the blades, and boil it for 10 minutes. Okay, and you will have no smells, and anything that's there will just lift off. And sometimes it's funny because I'll think, oh, there's a burnt patch here, it won't come off my brush, but as soon as I put a fingernail to it, it just lifts off. Okay, so sometimes it's just just needs a different action. Okay, now let's have a look at what our soup is doing. Okay. Ooh. All right. Now, the main thing we want to be sure of is that our chicken is actually cooked. Oh, this looks like veggie soup with chunks of chicken. Okay, so you can see the chunks there. But obviously, I just threw things in. I haven't even tasted yet. So this is actually going to be, I'm not sure if it's going to be our lunch for tomorrow or dinner tomorrow night or something. I am just going to taste it. It's going to be really hot. Oh, that's good. So, because what I was thinking of doing is maybe throwing in, when I go to reheat it, I'll probably give it a another cook for 10 minutes and throw in, say, half a cup of risotto with it at that stage. I won't put it in now because I know I'm not eating it straight away, and all that would happen is this would just absorb the water and it would all just get really full. But if, say I was making this for us to eat now, I would have just thrown my half a cup of risotto in at the same time as my chicken and everything else. So I'm just going to get a bowl and a ladle. I'm just going to show you what my chunky chicken soup looks like. Because it's very tasty. Doesn't need any more salt because I used my veggie stock. But we've got some good veggie chunks there. Our chicken is still in chunks. And the veggies are all soft, so which is what we want. All right, so I don't know. I will take a picture again so you can see what that is. But there would actually be nothing to stop me if I wanted to at this stage go, okay, I'll take half out and leave it as chunky soup and puree the rest and turn it into a creamy soup. Because child's not going to eat it. It's only going to be for Graham and I. And there's probably, 2 meals for both of us in here. So I could turn this into 2 different soups, which probably isn't a bad idea. So, I might just quickly puree some soup. Oh, look, I have a jug that we were playing with. Okay, so let me get half my soup in. I want to make sure I get liquid as well. But I'm going to go half in there. So we'll have soup 2 ways. I should get it up to, I said it was about the 2 litre mark before, so I should get it up to 1 litre, and then that means I've got half. Nearly there. So has everybody made a pureed soup?
Yeah,
Or
I
a
just did
soup?
during the week.
Okay, what flavour did you do?
I just used leftover vegetables in the refrigerator.
Oh, so you just like what I'm doing here.
Yeah, I
Awesome.
did.
Oh, cool. That's good. All right, I'm just going to throw my lid on. Here we go. We'll use the auto puree. Okay, let's jump down the screen. So I've got about 1 litre of soup in there, hot soup. All right, so we've got our blend mode down here. Now, I don't know if you can see, but on the blend dial, there's some little gaps in the lines there, around there. Can everyone see those?
Yeah.
That means you can actually blend at different speeds, okay? So depending on, so I'll leave it on 30 seconds for the moment, but if I just did 1 notch, or actually I've just done 3, that takes me to 7. I'll just give that a quick thing, and then I'll stop, and then I'll show you the other. But depending on what you're doing, you may not want to fully puree. You may want it to be a little bit. Okay, we'll just let this go. There we go. Okay, so I've just done 30 seconds, but if I was just to go to, I'm just going to see what it looks like at that. Yeah, okay. I might actually put some more veggies in because I think I put mainly liquid in, which isn't going to make a very cool soup. There we go. I'm going to pop another lump of veggies in. So if I was just to go to that first notch, that gives us a 6. Then I think we have 6.5 and then 7, 7.5 and 8. All right, so we've just got different speeds for different things. Yeah. Just wait for that to stop pureeing. But as I say, if I had planned that I was going to puree soup before I started, I would have probably put my chicken in my simmering basket, and so then I could, and probably even maybe just a little scoop of the chunky veg, and then I would add them back in once I've put my soup. Okay, so I'll be able to take a picture to show you. This is the same soup. One is a chunky chicken and veg. The other is a, oops, I've just put a jug in front, haven't I? There we go. Yep. So I do have my thing in here. So yeah, two soups, but it's the same ingredients in both. Just do that. And I'll just pop it in the page as I normally do so everyone can see. Because yeah, unless my cameraman came and changed the vision now, he could pop it onto the soup bowls so we could actually see what they look like. Let's see if he does that. So I'm just popping that picture up. There we go. So it's soup 2 ways. Oh, and let me just change onto the special camera and we'll have a look at, see if he can go there, zoom out a bit and focus. Oh, there we go. Okay, so there's our chicken and veg and our pureed version as well. There you go, pop them both, see if we can get them both in. Yeah, so this has got really good chunks in it, and the chicken has stayed in nice big pieces, and that was because I did it in reverse. And now I will also show you the inside of a Brazilian cheese puff. They are amazing. Okay, so there's our Brazilian cheese puffs at the front there. And if we gonna zoom or focus on it. There we go. Okay, so when I open it, you can see how it's sort of almost stretchy.
Oh, yum.
Oh, okay. Oh, the cameraman's just eating it. They are really, 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 really yum. Okay, and they're so easy to make. So especially if you know someone who's gluten-free, being able to whip those up in 15 minutes to give them is, oh, he, he's everyone's enjoying that. Cool. So, oh, yes. And okay, I better take a picture then of those as well, because this is what happens. I do all this food and then go, oh, this is delicious, and then we eat it all before I get to take a picture. I'll get my things out of the way, and there we go. And Brazilian cheese puffs. Beautiful. Alrighty. If nobody has any questions, we can close off there. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for
Bye.